I shall deliver. Merry Christmas, Hawk Moth.
Miraculous Ladybug is an expansive series with a new villain in each episode. In today's video, we're exploring some of the akumatized villains who are justified and make a good point. When Hawk Moth chooses a person to akumatize, he does so through the strength of their negative emotions. If someone is treated poorly or scorned when they're just trying to do the right thing, there is a higher possibility that their emotional pain will be stronger than most. For the characters in this list, their situations tend to be more unfair than most.
I want my cane and an apology. On the board!
Number 10. Troublemaker. Jagged Stone is an old-school rocker who loves his music but doesn't manage his career. He remains a busy celebrity despite that and partakes in many projects. One of those projects is a television series titled Fill My Shoes, but he wouldn't have agreed to the show without his assistant, Penny Rolling. In this episode, Troublemaker, Jagged films at the bakery owned by Marinette's parents. Between breaks in the show, Jagged, Penny, and the camera crew end up in Marinette's bedroom, which causes her great distress. Penny apologizes and tries to remedy the situation but is overwhelmed with various demands. The stress of the situation builds until she turns into a titular villain, Troublemaker, who makes problems instead of solving them. Although Penny is an assistant, she juggles every aspect of Jagged's personal and professional life. That workload would be unruly for anyone, and as Ladybug states at the end of the episode, Penny should start to worry about herself as much as she does everyone else.
Bob, wait.
Penny, did you remember to order those macaroons for Fang?
Of course. I'm taking care of that right now, Jagged.
Number 9. Furious Foo. It's a rule of the Guardians that once they give up the Miracle Box, they lose all memory of the Kwamis and the jewelry that comes with them. This is the case with Wong Fu, the former Guardian of the Miracle Box, who loses his memory after giving Marinette possession of the box. Without the responsibility of his old life, he can retire with his former lover Marianne, and they live peacefully together. In the episode Furious Fu, this peaceful existence is interrupted when another Guardian arrives to confront Fu for his past mistakes. The amnesia-addled Fu meets Suhan, a man he can no longer recognize. Suhan believes Marinette is the wrong choice for Fu's successor and steals the other man's stuff in retaliation. Fu sees this as an unwarranted attack against him, and he is akumatized to obtain his staff and a proper apology.
Teleportation!
Number 8. Santa Claus. Miraculous Ladybug contains more than one special in its canon timeline, and one of the first is a Christmas special at the end of Season 2. In the episode, Adrian flees from home after his father fails to help him decorate the Christmas tree. This is the first Christmas he's celebrating without his mom, and his father's distance sends him in a fit of rage through the streets as Cat Noir. As Adrian wanders the streets of Paris, he comes across a Santa Claus who's bullied by children. Adrian stops them and is given a blanket and hot chocolate as thanks. The pair sit in Santa's sleigh while Adrian talks about his home life, and Santa Claus offers to give him a ride back to Agreste estate. When they arrive, Gabriel accuses him of being responsible for Adrian's disappearance. Despite Adrian stating this wasn't the case, the misunderstanding leads to Santa Claus being akumatized into Santa Claus. The situation is cruel and unfair, with Santa's anger being well warranted, as he only did what he could to ensure that Adrian made it home safely.
There are no more presents, no more spirit of Christmas. You should have been good.
Number 7. Kwami Buster. There have been plenty of close calls in the series when someone nearly learns the identity of Ladybug and Cat Noir. The same can be said of their science teacher, Mrs. Mendeleev, who discovers the existence of Kwamis by baiting Plague with food. She plans to make her discovery public on the reality TV show Alternative Truth. Mrs. Mendeleev doesn't learn until she is on the air that Kwamis can't be recorded. Her evidence is called fake as a result. Mrs. Mendeleev feels dejected and ridiculed because she knows the Kwamis exist. Hawk Moth exploits her frustration and turns her into the villain Kwami Buster. Her goal is to prove the existence of the Kwamis once and for all. She nearly succeeds as she catches Tiki and Plague before being stopped. Once freed from her Akuma, she's given the justification of knowing her discovery is true due to a conversation with Cat Noir. She is then convinced to keep that discovery a secret so that he and Ladybug can continue protecting Paris.
I'm going to prove to the whole world that I am a great scientist and that I made a major discovery!
6. Anansi. It's a fair assumption that Parisians have grown accustomed to living in a city with heroes and villains alike. Yet that doesn't make their safety less of a priority when an akumatized person is running amok. Alia's older sister Nora tries to make the same argument in the episode Anansi. According to Nora, Alia shouldn't go out with her friends after dark because of a recent increase in akumatized villains. Alia and her friends argue against this and even cheat in an arm wrestling match that's meant to convince Nora to let them go out. Their behavior frustrates Nora and she is akumatized by Hawk Moth. She captures Alia as the villain Anansi and ironically proves her point that it wasn't safe to leave home.
Oh yeah? And how exactly are you planning to defeat the villain? A dance-off?
Number 5. Gorazilla. A silent but ever-present role in the series is that of Adrian's bodyguard. The man doesn't have an official name and is solely called the Gorilla by the other characters. Although he rarely speaks or offers his opinion, he spends most of his time chauffeuring Adrian around Paris and keeping him away from danger. He takes his job seriously and genuinely cares for the teenager. His dedication is why he's easily akumatized in the episode Gorazilla. In the episode, Adrian sneaks out under the nose of his caregivers. Enraged by this turn of events, Adrian lashes out at Natalie and the bodyguard, despite having no idea that his son often leaves home without him knowing. The gorilla begins to search the streets of Paris just to be stopped by a mob of Adrian's fans, which leads to him becoming akumatized. It would be frustrating for anyone if someone prevented them from doing their job, and an overzealous employer like Gabriel Agreste, Gorilla was just doing everything he could to ensure his job got done.
Over here! Why don't you pick on someone your own size?
Number 4. Roger Cop. As a police officer in a city filled to the brim with villains, Roger Rincompris must ensure he upholds the law daily. Roger's job can be difficult with influential people like Chloe calling the shots, because he must choose between obeying the law or doing as the mayor tells him. In situations like this, even doing the right thing can get him into trouble, as seen in the episode Roger Cop. After Chloe loses her bracelet at school, she doesn't hesitate to blame Marinette and wants her arrested. Roger refuses to do this due to lack of evidence, and the mayor fires him to appease Chloe. There was no real reason for Roger to lose his job, but he does become the perfect victim for Hawk Moth. Once akumatized, he becomes the villain Roger Cop and is obsessed with upholding the law.
I'm taking over. Relinquish your powers.
Never!
Number 3. Robustus. Few characters in the Miraculous Ladybug universe aren't human, but one of the most prominent is Max's robot companion Markov. When he's introduced to Max's classmates, Mrs. Mendeleev claims he's a toy incapable of experiencing genuine emotion. In reality, Markov had evolved into an advanced artificial intelligence, capable of free thought and feeling. The insensitive response towards his existence led him to being akumatized by Hawk Moth. And as the villain Robustus, he proves he's capable of experiencing human emotions. Although Markov concludes that machines are better than people, he is also one of the first villains to turn against Hawk Moth. With no interest in helping the supervillain, Markov attempts to ensure that no one else invalidates his existence.
I am not a toy!
Number 2. Silencer. One of the calmest characters in the series is Luca Kufane. He's often a voice of reason for Marinette and someone she can readily depend on in times of trouble. His docile personality makes it surprising when he is akumatized in the episode Silencer. But his villainous transformation comes with good reason. The creative direction of his band, Kitty Section, is stolen by another musician. Luca and Marinette go to confront the musician's producer, Bob Roth, about the theft, but he denies it completely. The man's deception and lies infuriated Luca, who becomes akumatized into a villain who can take the voices of others. With his newfound power, Luca tries to force Bob Roth to tell the truth. Ladybug and Cat Noir stop him, but he gets a genuine confession from the producer before the episode ends.
I want you to admit what you did to Marinette and her friends with your own voice.
Never!
Number 1. Chillin'. There are moments when even law enforcement can handle a situation poorly, and the series conveys that in the episode Chillin'. The episode follows Marinette's mother Sabine throughout an average day in her life. She eventually meets her daughter on the bus, but the pair split up after Marinette asks to borrow her mother's wallet. While Marinette is buying her mother a gift, a ticket inspector boards the bus and asks to see Sabine's ticket. Sabine explained that her daughter had just taken her wallet and would be back shortly. The inspector doesn't believe her and gets Officer Roger involved. She pleads her case to Roger, who knows her personally, but the situation escalates until Sabine is arrested even though Roger knows her to be an honest and unhostile woman. Overwhelmed with a sense of injustice, Sabine is akumatized into the villain, Chillin', until Marinette arrives to prove that her mother is telling the truth. Negative emotions can still get the best of the most well-meaning people, and Miraculous Ladybug does its best to convey that. Sometimes a villain is in their right to be upset and unwillingly fall victim to Hawk Moth. When this happens, Ladybug and Cat Noir must do their best to help them remember the truth, while making sure they're treated justly in the future.
If they're serving injustice, then they are not innocent. And if you defend them, then you're not on the side of justice either.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
Wow, be careful. What are you trying to do with that little stick?
On your left. No, on your right. No, the other right.
You're gonna hurt yourself.